The candy fiasco, the complaint, and the kitchen. Deconstructing Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos' very public, very relatable domestic life. In the meticulously curated world of celebrity, where red carpets, brand endorsements, and polished social media feeds often create an impenetrable veil of glamour, we are rarely granted a glimpse of the mundane, the messy, the genuinely human. We see the Oscars, not the school runs. We see the gourmet meals at trendy restaurants, not the frantic Tuesday night scramble for leftovers. It is in this context that a story about running out of Halloween candy becomes not just a amusing anecdote but a cultural artifact, a tiny, glittering shard of reality from behind the gates of a multi-million-dollar home. Kelly Ripa, the effervescent queen of morning television, and her husband, the perennially charismatic Mark Consuelos, have built a brand on relatable chemistry, both on and off the screen. Their hit show, Live with Kelly and Mark, thrives on the couple's ability to transform the minutiae of their married life into compelling, laugh-out-loud content. But in a recent episode, Kelly shared a story that transcended the typical "funny thing my spouse did" segment. She revealed a genuine neighborhood scandal. A formal complaint had been lodged against their household. The crime? A Halloween candy deficit of such magnitude that it required 2 separate restocking missions and left at least one adult trick-or-treater so aggrieved that they felt compelled to question the hosts directly. This incident, a perfect storm of suburban pressure and celebrity expectation, opens a fascinating window into the Ripa Consuelos household, a demand that has recently been showcased in a stunning Homes and Gardens feature. By juxtaposing the chaotic, public-facing candy crisis with the serene, minimalist elegance of their private kitchen, we can explore a much larger narrative about modern celebrity, the relentless pressure of public perception, and the universal, often hilarious, challenges of keeping up appearances, whether you live in a suburban split-level or a multi-million-dollar Manhattan abode. Part 1. The Great Halloween Candy Crisis, a case study in suburban panic. Let us set the scene. It is Halloween night in what one can assume is an affluent, likely celebrity-adjacent neighborhood in New York City. The streets are thronged with tiny ghosts, superheroes, and Disney characters, their parents shepherding them from one lavishly decorated doorway to the next. The Ripa Consuelos residence, home to 2 of television's most recognizable faces, is undoubtedly a highlight on the trick-or-treating circuit. The pressure is on. Act 1. The optimistic opening gambit. Kelly and Mark, by all accounts, are enthusiastic participants in the Halloween ritual. They are not the house that turns off all the lights and pretends not to be home. They are all in. As reported by E! Online, they prepared for the evening with strategic generosity. They didn't just buy a few bags of assorted mini chocolates, they hand-picked a significant quantity of candy, anticipating a diverse crowd of picky trick-or-treaters. This is a crucial detail. This is not the act of amateurs. This is the planning of seasoned Halloween veterans who understand the nuanced preferences of their clientele. They were ready for the child who only likes sour gummies, the one who eschews chocolate, and the one who will only accept a name-brand candy bar. Their initial stash was a testament to their commitment to community spirit and their desire to be the cool house on the block. The evening begins. The doorbell chimes incessantly. Laughter echoes. Kelly and Mark, presumably in good spirits, dispense candy with their characteristic charm. For a while, the system works. But then the unthinkable happens. The bowl, once overflowing, begins to show its bottom. The colorful wrappers dwindle. A sense of dread, familiar to any Halloween host who has misjudged their neighborhood's collective sweet tooth, begins to set in. Act 2. The first depletion and the frantic restock. The candy runs out. Not at the end of the night, but right in the thick of the action. This is Halloween hosting sin number 1. Kelly's recounting of the event suggests a state of mild panic. They ran out not once, but twice. The first depletion likely triggered an emergency response. One can imagine the hushed, urgent conversation at the front door. "Mark, we're out." "Out? How can we be out? We bought the industrial-sized bag from Costco." "I don't know, but there's a line of 5 Disney princesses and a very tall, unconvincing Spider-Man waiting. You have to go, now." And so the mission is launched. Mark Consuelos, star of screen and stage, is dispatched into the night, a man on a critical quest for sugar. He likely dashes to the nearest open drugstore, scanning the ravaged seasonal aisle for any remaining loot. He returns triumphant with a new cache of candy. Crisis averted? Not quite. Act 3, the second depletion and the arrival of the disgruntled citizen. The second batch of candy, a testament to their determination, also vanishes. The demand has simply outstripped even their most generous supply. The night eventually winds down, and Kelly and Mark are left with nothing but empty bowls and the lingering adrenaline of a crisis managed, albeit imperfectly. The story could have ended here, a funny family memory about the year they underestimated Halloween. But the true climax came later, as revealed by Kelly on Live. An adult trick-or-treater, a figure who already exists in a moral gray area of Halloween etiquette, approached her with a question that was less a query and more an indictment. "What happened to your candy this year?" The audacity of this question is breathtaking. It implies a few key things. The Ripa Consuelos household has an established, well-known reputation for candy quality and quantity. This individual and presumably others had come to expect a certain standard of service. The failure to meet this standard was notable enough to warrant a post-mortem inquiry. Kelly, ever the quick-witted professional, deflected with a perfectly delivered, albeit slightly pointed, retort. "You'll have to come earlier next year." It was a masterclass in handling a subtly hostile interaction with grace and humor. She didn't apologize profusely. She placed the onus back on the trick-or-treater, reframing the issue from one of supply failure to one of poor timing on the part of the demand. Act 4. The formal complaint. The plot thickens. As if the direct confrontation wasn't enough, Kelly dropped the bombshell that a neighbor had actually lodged a formal complaint. The nature of this complaint, was it a text message, a note, a call to the HOA, was left to the imagination, but its existence elevates the story from a funny anecdote to a full-blown neighborhood drama. It speaks to the intense, often unspoken social contracts that govern suburban life, where Halloween candy distribution is a metric of one's civic engagement. In the world of Kelly and Mark, even a simple act of giving away free candy is subject to public scrutiny and critique. This entire saga is so profoundly relatable because it mirrors the quiet anxieties of everyday life, just on a more glamorous stage. The pressure to be perfect hosts, the fear of disappointing the community, the mild humiliation of a public-facing failure, these are universal feelings. That Kelly and Mark, for all their fame and fortune, are not immune to them is the core of their enduring appeal. Part 2. The Sanctuary Within, a tour of the Ripa Consuelos kitchen. Just as the Halloween candy crisis provides a view of their public-facing, chaotic domestic life, a recent feature in Homes and Gardens offers a stunning counterpoint, a glimpse into their private sanctuary. The kitchen, often described as the heart of the home, is presented not as a site of frantic candy bag filling, but as a temple of calm, order, and impeccable taste. The article highlights their choice of a white and gray color palette, complemented by sleek marble surfaces and an overarching minimalist design. This is a far cry from the orange and black clutter of Halloween. Let's deconstruct the symbolism of this space. The psychology of white and gray. A white and gray kitchen is more than just an aesthetic choice. It is a declaration of intent. White evokes purity, cleanliness, and simplicity. It creates a sense of space and light, a blank canvas upon which the business of life can be conducted without visual noise. Gray, particularly in its softer, warmer tones, adds sophistication, stability, and calm. In a life that is undoubtedly filled with the colorful chaos of a busy career, 3 children, and a constant public presence, this kitchen serves as a visual sedative. It is a space designed for clarity and tranquility. After a long day of being on, including dealing with candy complaints, one can imagine Kelly and Mark retreating to this serene environment to decompress. The timelessness of marble and minimalism. The choice of marble is equally significant. It is a